Hey, good evening. I trust that you all had a great day. I'm still here, still at work, still helping Kenyan students to go study in the US. But I just want to talk about a few things just for you to consider about going to study in the US. And the first thing that I want to talk to you about is that you can go to study in the US as an undergraduate, as a master's student, as a PhD student, those three levels, okay? But an amazing thing about the US is that you don't need to have a master's program to do a doctoral program. So it can be a shortcut from undergraduate directly to a PhD program. Amazing opportunities. Number two, there are over 4,000 universities in the US, and whichever way you look at it, guess what? You're going to get a great university for you to go and study. We have something called private universities and state universities. When you consider to go to private universities, you kind of pay more. It's like going to a privately owned university. So it's gonna cost you something. When you go to state universities, guess what? You're gonna pay a lower amount. So if you do not have a lot of money, I always say look at state universities. But this is the thing that you need to consider. Most private universities have something called funding, what you all call scholarships. So even as you say, I'm not going to look at private universities, please remember that private universities have more funding than public universities. So put that in mind. And you might apply to a private university that is expensive, but they give you a good funding that cuts down your cost. Okay? All right. Then if you choose to go to big cities, LA, New York City, guess what? It's going to be expensive. When you go to, what we could consider rural areas, which are still very developed, you don't pay as much, and it's not so expensive to live there. Hey, you're a student, you don't need to be in New York City unless you can afford it. Look for cities out of the city. The suburban areas. You're going to find a nice place where you can stay, and it's not very expensive. You can save some money. Now, I want to talk about some theories that people have, and I want to demystify these theories that are out there. People say, if I can get a job, please help me to go to the US. If I can get a job, guess what? I'm going to pay for my university fees. It is not possible. You only work for 20 hours, 20 hours per week during school time, during the semester. 20 hours per week. Even if you're earning $20 an hour, it's not sufficient for you to put that money into your school fees. So always make sure that you've factored in your funding and that you are covered. Do not leave your country to go to the US hoping that you will work to meet the need and to meet that financial gap. It is not possible, and I'm saying people get frustrated, people drop out of school. All right. Now, when you think about those things, you need to apply. The US has deadlines. The deadlines are deadlines. If you miss a deadline, that's it. So you need to really put everything in order. Most undergraduate application deadlines and even graduates, they start towards end of the year. September for undergraduates, early decision, which I'll talk to you about later on. That's November 1 deadline. But the rest, the deadline for application starting from November 1, they're going to go up to around December 31st. So, you have time, you have 3 months. Plus, you're not going to be waiting for the end of the year to apply. No, you need to start today. This is May. You need to start working today on that application. Make sure that you get everything right. Now, funding. Do not apply to a school that you cannot afford, because I see students getting excited to apply to schools, then they get admissions, but they cannot afford to go to school. So make sure that you have the funding. There are schools that will not give funding, and then by the time you're through with the application, you find that you did not get funding. That is okay, because you can always defer and wait for the second year and see if you're going to get funding. But I hope this helps you. Think about your education. Think about going to study in the US, because this is going to be an opener for you. I've looked at all the students I've worked with for over 10 years now, and let me tell you, their life changes. There are opportunities. You can work anywhere in the world, and most importantly, you get to make networks. Your networks are your net worth. You get to make networks from across the world. So that's free information for you. Think about it. Look us up, usaelimo.com. usaelimo.com. If you have any questions, call us. Let us know what you're thinking about. Let us know what your questions are. Which number can you call us on? +254 113 16 17 18. +254 113 16 17 18. We will be glad to work with you. And and see what your academic journey looks like. But having said that, wherever you go to study, in your country or in the US, make the best out of that opportunity, and I wish you the very best. God bless you. Have a great evening, and I hope this information helps you. Next time, I'm going to talk about financial aid. I'm going to talk about visas, because I know those are hot topics for us, and it is important that we are very well prepared. Bye for now. See you later.